We come and go every day, but rarely do we slow down to think about how we get around and how we will in the future. Planning the future of the region's transportation system is the job of PACTS, the Portland Area Comprehensive Transportation System, a group of 15 cities and towns in southern Maine.
The mission of PACTS is to most efficiently and effectively maintain and transform the transportation system that we have with the available funds.
Well, the common ground for all of the PACTS communities, those that are urban, rural, and suburban, is we all have one thing in common, and that is we all have transportation needs.
In fact, PACTS has a plan called Destination Tomorrow that looks at our region's transportation systems, its streets, highways, bridges, buses, trains, and paths for walking and biking, and how we need to change that system for the better in the decades to come.
It's no coincidence, the transportation systems that are well thought out are very productive.
The transportation system in Greater Portland is currently in pretty good shape compared to other parts of the state and other parts of the country. However, it's deteriorating and deteriorating very rapidly. It's out of balance, meaning that we have primarily a roadway-based system, while we have really neglected the rail for freight and for passenger transportation.
Destination Tomorrow also looks at how we can transform the system so we can get to work, transport our products and services to market, make sure our children get to school as efficiently and safely as possible. One of those improvement efforts is underway in the Oak Hill area of Scarborough. There, planners and residents are working together to develop a pedestrian and bike-friendly city center.
It is very much a car-dominated area here in Oak Hill, and this is certainly one of the more challenging areas that I've worked on personally in order to develop a pedestrian plan.
If I could do one thing, my dream almost since I've been an adult is to have sidewalks in Scarborough so that we can actually have safe pedestrian amenities in this town.
In towns like Falmouth and Windham, citizens and planners face issues like congestion, access, and mobility that threaten their economic health and quality of life.
I do spend a lot more time in traffic, and it seems like a lot of the road systems are more congested than they used to be.
In Falmouth, our issues are not much different than that of the region. We need to take a look at our collector road system, make sure that we're reserving enough money locally to meet the matches that become available for state and federal funding. And it's very important for us to also consider things such as the intersection behind us right now. The peak volume traffic at this intersection creates many issues on some of our local roads with traffic congestion.
Destination Tomorrow incorporates the individual community goals and challenges faced by all 15 of the PACTS members. The PACTS plan also looks ahead to societal shifts and how we can tackle these issues collectively. Things like climate change, health considerations such as the obesity epidemic, the cost of energy, our aging population.
In terms of what the transportation issues are, I think one of the things that's coming on the radar as going to be an increasing issue are the number of folks who are aging out of driving.
I'm finding I have quite a lot of customers that have said to me that they no longer have cars. These are older people, and I think they're relying more on bus transportation than they used to. Driving gets scary sometimes when you get older.
The biggest choice I made was getting rid of a truck that got 13 miles a gallon. And now I have a little beater car that gets like 30 miles a gallon, and that was deliberate.
I think people are going to make choices to live where they work and work where they live kind of thing. I know my kids are doing some of that, so I think things will look a little different in the future just because of the price of gas and transportation.
One big challenge will be funding. Whether you're talking about building a new bridge, planning an interstate bypass, or saving energy by creating interconnected bus and train lines.
Sometimes we call it the F word, but it is the biggest issue of all. There are only so many funds to go around.
We've estimated that over the 20-year life of the plan, we need about $1.5 billion to maintain and improve. Improve meaning adding more bus service, adding more train service, bike lanes, those things. We have about 500 million, or about a third of that, as currently identified and to be available over those 20 years.
I don't know. 20 years from now, I think we'll have things that look like cars and run like cars, but they don't run on what they run on today.
Transportation is paid for primarily through a gas tax. We also have tolls, of course. What we're bumping up against is that the current funding system for transportation is unsustainable. Cars are becoming more fuel efficient, thankfully. So we're driving as much as we always have, but we're using less fuel. That means fewer dollars for the transportation system to maintain it and transform it to the system we need for the future. As far as solutions, there's only a few options really right now, and we're looking for other ideas. Increasing the gas tax, user fees, more tolls, perhaps a surcharge on electricity, because a lot of cars are going to be running on being charged in the future, vehicle miles tax. But the fact is we need to come up with something because the current system is broken.
So whether it's making smarter land use decisions that are designed to promote more cost-effective transportation choices every day, or promoting lower cost, more fuel-efficient options like freight rail, carpooling, van pooling, and transit, PACT's ability to maintain and transform the region's transportation system will depend on the ability of our communities to work together to make the most of diminishing funding resources and to find new sources of funding.
In one way or another, we all have to pay for this system. It's important for livability, it's important for the economy, it's important for mobility. You know, the way that we get around is unprecedented in human history, and it costs some serious money. And I think that people have generally gotten away from the idea of exactly how roads are paid for. I think they think they just appear. You know, sometimes they just are, and they're not. They were built out. It's an extensive system, and it requires a lot of funding to maintain that. And everybody, if they want that type of mobility, that type of comfort, that ease of travel, they're going to need to understand that that has to come from all of us.